Hello and welcome to DFS Coach Talk. Today is Saturday, April the 16th, and I am here with Josh Crash Davis to go over the top plays for MLB DFS and prize picks for this huge slate that we have on our main slate today. I am Joe Sarvati, by the way, affectionately known as Coach. And Crash, how are you? Are you ready for this monster MLB slate today?
Yeah, I am. I came up just a little bit shy last night, and it left me with a bad taste in my mouth. So I'm ready to bounce back today in a big way.
Revenge game. I love it. The revenge narrative for Mr. BVP here, Crash Davis.
Yeah, definitely.
Great stuff. Well, why don't you let the listeners know, we do this every day. We're really getting into a rhythm. People are liking, getting a lot of great comments. We're encompassing pitch best plays and fades pitchers wise, prize picks, BVP, stacks, HR calls, putting that all together in a pretty concise, shorter podcast so everybody can get the information and get those lineups built. Today, we're going to be referring strictly to the main slate because it's so big. Do you want to talk a little bit about that main slate? What you think? Are there any rain games that we need to have a long range look at? What's the sort of the area here for this main slate?
Yeah, it's going to be a 6-game main slate. It starts at 7:05 Eastern. So, we've got quite a bit of time throughout the day to kind of see what the weather's going to look like and all that kind of stuff. At this point, I didn't see anything that we really have to worry about too much on that main slate. Really, there's not really any. I'm looking at it right now. There's some, there looks pretty good. Looks pretty good. So
good, because that's always one tough, not if you have to wait them out, it's stressful, right. But
yeah, it is.
Good. All right, let's start off with our first area here. I will say this podcast is brought to you by Prize Picks, and we'll have a couple of those Prize Picks plays for you at the end of the podcast here. If you want to sign up at Prize Picks, go to prizepicks.com. I don't know what you're waiting for. It's the best place. People are just killing it. And sign up with the promo code Coach Talk on your first deposit. They will match you dollar for dollar all the way up to $100. Also, if you want more information, more Prize Picks info, more DFS info, join us at dfscoachtalk.com. You can test us out for as little as 3 days for $10. And we will be following these lineups throughout the day when they're officially announced, any weather issues, more prize picks choices as the day goes on. So we would love to have you. All right, pitchers, dive into that for us, Josh.
Yeah, so my top pitcher play on this slate is going to be Justin Verlander. He's 10,500 on FanDuel, 9,700 on DK. He got off to a solid start against the Los Angeles Angels in the opener. He pitched 5 innings, only allowed 1 run, and struck out 7. Here's the clear top option for me in cash and really all formats tonight. So Justin Verlander is definitely my favorite pitcher on this slate.
Okay. Any pitch counts? Nothing to worry about there. He's pretty good to go.
Not that I've seen. I think he's going to be pretty good to go. Yeah,
I agree. Okay, excellent. What do you have for fades there?
Well, I'm going to first go for my value pitcher, and it's not a huge value price. He's 8,800 on FanDuel and 8,600 on DraftKings, but it's going to be Adrian Hauser of the Milwaukee Brewers. He's, like I said, it's not a huge value, but in 2 starts against the Cardinals in Milwaukee last year, he pitched a complete game shutout with 7 strikeouts for 58 fantasy points and had a 6-inning game where he only allowed 1 run and struck out 3. So he only actually gave up 1 run in 4 starts against St. Louis last year. So
wow,
as powerful as that lineup is, he did really well. If he can avoid giving up a big hit to Paul Goldschmidt, that's the one guy that's really got to him. So if he can avoid that, he should have pretty solid numbers. As far as my fade pitcher goes, I'm going to go with Julio Urias. He's 9,800 on FanDuel. He's 9,900 on DraftKings. He's actually more expensive than Justin Verlander on DraftKings.
That's crazy.
You can figure that out. So had a rough start. His first start was in Coors, so that's tough for any pitcher. But he only pitched 2 innings, allowed 3 runs. But what really stuck out to me is that he really struggled with his velocity. It seemed like he couldn't get that fastball going, and he needs that to have a good outing. So I do think until we see more from him, if we see increased velocity, more consistency from his pitching, I think I'm going to have to fade him at that price. It's just too much to pay, especially when, like I said, he's more than Verlander.
Yeah,
So Urias would be my fade.
I don't think he'll be very highly owned at that price, especially with that first outing, no doubt. But for anybody that hasn't been, paying attention to it, I don't see how you play that guy in this situation. So we'll see. Yeah.
Yep.
Good calls there. Excellent. All right. Let's dive right into the prize pick side of things. I have a few things to add to that mix for you. I will tell you this, though. I'll save my stack, but I'm going to give you my prize pick. It's Anthony Rindone, 6.5 hitter fantasy score. I like him in this matchup against Hearn from Texas. I think he's a good home run call guy today too, and I definitely think they get to Hearn. So I think great spot for him to have a big game.
Yeah, I like that. Mine is actually going to be in that same game. I'm going to go with Corey Seager over 6.5 fantasy score.
Okay.
And he's also, we can go right into this. He's also going to be my BVP play of the day. He's 3,200 on FanDuel. He's 5,000 on DraftKings. He's hit 500 against Syndergaard with 7 hits and 14 at bats. He's hit 4 singles, 2 doubles, and a home run. So pretty decent sample size there. I really like Corey Seager. Rangers offense has been playing really well. Last night was that back and forth game like we had talked about. So I do like Seager to go over 6.5 pretty easily, I would think. So
yeah, and we did, the one thing we mentioned, we said this game looked like one of those 9-8 kind of big scoring games, and it was a big scoring game.
Yeah, it was 9-6, wasn't it? Something like that.
Yeah, we almost nailed it. The thing is, I think they're going to hit again today. They got the right, weather there, and the pitchers are not anything to write home about. So you got some good stackable guys there. Very, very well done on the BVP. Speaking of stacks, I'll just go ahead and say Angels are my stack. I'm going to have 3 or 4 of those guys. And of course, Rendon right square in the middle of it. It gets a little bit pricey with the Otanis and Trouts and everything. So you're not going to be able to have all the big boys, but you could certainly have some stacks or skip a spot and have some, wrap around stack or whatever you want to do. But I don't see why you don't go back to the well here. I expect a good score from both sides here, actually.
Yeah, I definitely like the Angels too. My top stack is actually going to be the Colorado Rockies, though. And I know it's Coors and all that, but they're going up against Mark Leiter Jr. He's been pitching in the minors. He hasn't pitched in the majors since 2018.
Wow.
So, but I like the Rockies here with Connor Joe, Chris Bryant, Ryan McMahon, and CJ Cron. I also like the Yankees, but I think that with Judge back in the lineup, they're playing in Baltimore. They always seem to get really high ownership whenever they play there. And they're going against Tyler Wells, who really struggled in his first start. So I think we can get the Rockies at a little bit lower ownership than usual on a quarter slate. So
we're going to have this trend all year. Let's face it. I mean, you're going to have the Yankees stacks, the Dodgers stacks, and the Coors game stacks dominate every single, unless it's terrible weather or, somebody like a Jacob deGrom is pitching. Those are going to be the 3 constants this entire season. So choosing how you want to, maneuver those, it's interesting because, we haven't seen that strong. Everybody always stacks cores. We know that, but it just seems like this murderer's row Yankees and Dodgers teams, it's just going to be just badger these guys every day and picking them. So, you got to get a little bit different in some spots and, hopefully correlation ownership. That's why it's so important, when you're stacking these squads, because they're not cheap either. So that's the other tricky part. But I do like that stacks call. That's outstanding.
Yeah, and the other thing I was going to say is the Angels stack was pretty high owned last night too. I don't know if you saw that or not.
I did, and
they were the top
on the Otani call too. Double dong,
2 home
very
runs.
Well done.
Yeah. Thank you. My GPP stack is going to be my Milwaukee Brewers. They're going up against Steven Matz. He had an awful start to this year with the Pirates. He allowed 7 runs in 3 innings.
Yeah.
So he really got lit up. But I just feel like the Brewers, after yesterday, they had a stinker. They're going to bounce back. They've had some success against Mats in the past, especially Yelich and Wong. And then McCutchen and Renfroe, the two guys they added this offseason. I like both of them too against Mats. So that would be my 4-man stack from the Brewers. And then I guess we have the home run call.
Absolutely. So do you want me to throw mine in the mix?
Yeah, go ahead and give me yours, and then I'll give you mine.
All right. I'm going to, in that game that I've been picking on this series, I'm going Marcus Semien for a home run here. He's, like I said, when he heats up, he's a monster. I like the pitching matchup, and I think this one goes back and forth. I do think Rindone has a great shot to go deep, but I'm going Marcus Semien as my home run call of the day.
All right. And I'm going to take Chris Bryant going up against his old team. Like I said, he's going up against that minor league pitcher. Yeah, he's hitting .412 against right-handed pitchers this year, .379 overall. He has 4 multiple hit games. It just feels like he's due, kind of like I did with the Ohtani call. Obviously, he didn't put up the numbers that Ohtani did last year, but he's still a very solid hitter. And I think it's, just about time for him to hit one out. So that's my home run call, Chris Bryant.
I like it. And there's no doubt he is one of the favorites to do that and should be pretty highly owned, but don't let that scare you off. I mean, there's, just take the guys. If everybody homers for you, you're in pretty good shape. That's the way.
Yeah. If you look at the last 2 slates we had, Thursday and then last night, you had Guerrero with 3, and then you had Ohtani with 2. So those are should be 2 of the highest owned players on every slate. And they're the ones that are leading the slate. So
and
can't be afraid to go to those guys.
If you don't have them in those scenarios, you're not going to win. You're not going to take anything down. You got to have those slate breakers in there,
right?
Surrounded by some other good plays because it's competitive, but you don't want to miss those guys on those double or triple dong days for sure.
Mm-hmm. Yep.
Excellent, man. Anything else MLB wise to throw out there?
Yeah, just stay tuned in our Discord. We're going to have an early slate for you too, and some lineups and some prize pick plays and stuff like that. We went 3-0 between you and I yesterday on our prize picks, and I'm looking to keep it rolling again today.
Excellent. Yeah, we're back on the hot streak here, and we're planning on keeping it going for a while in both basketball and baseball, and try to take it from there. So outstanding, Crash. Let's get after it today. We've got all kinds of sports going on all over the place. It's going to be one of those, how do you watch all of them at the same time? But, this is the fun part of it. All day basketball, all day baseball, all the other stuff happening in between with our golf lineups. And I know there's some people chirping about USFL and NASCAR.
I'm not going there. I'm not that excited about USFL. But
jump in Discord. Our man Mike S. Man, he's got inside skinny on all those sports. So
all right, well, I trust him. So
I do too. So jump in. We'll dabble in everything, but we'll be super zoned in on the main sports, and then we'll fill you in on the rest. We have some great members that share info too. So. Outstanding. Have a great one, Crash. Appreciate you. And we'll certainly be back again tomorrow when we look to crush it in MLB DFS and prize picks.